How are you all? Well, imagine this for a second. The father who spent billions of rupees and lied to the whole world to protect his son. Today, that same son is stabbing his father in the back from inside prison. Yes, you heard that right. Josh Duggar is now saying things that, until now, we had only heard from critics. Josh is now claiming that his father, Jim Bob Duggar, was more focused on protecting the family's perfect image than actually protecting him. But honestly, the real shock is not even that. The real shock is this: what has this father-son relationship become behind those prison walls? Did they even want to see each other anymore? Or has a silent war already started behind the scenes? In today's video, I've brought you some sensational insider details that many people have never heard before. The Duggar family now seems to be collapsing like a house of cards, all because of this father-son ego battle. And trust me, if you don't watch this entire story, you could miss something huge. So let's uncover the real secret in today's special video. Over the years, the Duggar family built one of the most recognizable brands in reality television. Viewers saw them as a deeply religious, close-knit family with strong values, strict rules, and what looked like the perfect lifestyle. With shows like 19 Kids and Counting and later Counting On, the family became known for promoting conservative Christian values and a carefully controlled public image. But slowly, that image started to crack. And what makes this situation even more interesting is that the criticism is no longer coming only from outsiders. Now, it seems to be coming from inside the family itself. Especially from Josh Duggar. What really caught people's attention was the allegation that Jim Bob and Michelle were more concerned with looking good while Josh was suffering in prison. And that single idea sparked a massive online debate. For years, critics have argued that protecting the family's image has always been the Duggar family's top priority. And honestly, I think that's why this situation suddenly feels much more personal and emotional than previous Duggar controversies. This is no longer just about legal problems. Now it feels like resentment, like blame, and maybe even betrayal between father and son. To understand why this matters so much, we need to go back many years, long before the prison sentence. Before the federal trial ever happened, the Duggar family had already faced public controversy surrounding Josh. Back in 2015, reports about Josh's past misconduct resurfaced from when he was a teenager, involving several girls, including some of his sisters. The family publicly addressed the scandal, and Jim Bob and Michelle defended how the situation had been handled at the time. That moment changed everything for the Duggar brand. Sponsors pulled away, public support began to fade, and eventually, TLC canceled 19 Kids and Counting. Now, why is this important? Because many critics believe that was the family's first major attempt to protect their public image by downplaying deeper issues. Instead of openly discussing how serious the situation was from the beginning, critics say things were handled privately in a way that avoided public embarrassment. And whether people agree with that criticism or not, it has permanently become part of the Duggar family story. What's really interesting now is that Josh himself seems frustrated with the same system that once protected him. People online keep pointing out this irony. For years, many believe Jim Bob worked hard to shield Josh from consequences. But now, Josh reportedly feels abandoned. The same person who was once protected is now angry that the protection no longer feels strong enough. And honestly, that says a lot about how damaged relationships can become behind closed doors. When Josh Duggar was convicted on federal charges related to child sexual abuse material and sentenced to prison, the family once again faced enormous public backlash. The trial attracted intense media attention. Former fans started revisiting old interviews. Critics re-examined the family's past decisions. And during all of this, many people noticed something important. Jim Bob Duggar suddenly became much more cautious in public. The family released only limited statements. Some Duggar siblings appeared to distance themselves from the spotlight. Others stayed mostly silent, and the once carefully coordinated Duggar media machine suddenly looked like it was falling apart. Why does this matter? Because for years, the Duggar family operated almost like a carefully managed brand. Their interviews were polished, their messaging stayed consistent, their public image was tightly controlled. But after the conviction, maintaining that control became much harder. I think Jim Bob may have realized that aggressively defending Josh in public again could create even more damage, not just to the family's reputation, but also to business opportunities, speaking events, and relationships with supporters. And this is where Josh's alleged frustration becomes extremely important. If Josh truly believes his parents care more about public relations than supporting him personally, then it suggests he expected much stronger loyalty from them, even after everything that happened. And honestly, that says a lot about the family dynamic itself. Because in many families, prison either strengthens loyalty or completely destroys trust. Sometimes relatives stand beside the person involved. Other times, the pressure becomes too heavy. Public embarrassment, legal expenses, emotional stress. Eventually, relationships start falling apart. And in the Duggar family's case, that pressure has been building for years. Honestly, I think people sometimes forget how exhausting this kind of situation can become internally. Every public appearance gets analyzed. Every social media post becomes a news story. Every family member gets dragged into online discussions, even the ones trying to live privately. That level of constant scrutiny changes relationships. One thing many viewers noticed over the years was how strongly Jim Bob emphasized authority inside the family. In interviews and television specials, he was often presented as the central decision-maker. The family structure itself was shown in a very traditional, patriarchal way. Critics have argued that this structure may have created an environment where difficult issues were handled privately instead of openly challenged. Again, that is public criticism and interpretation, not proven fact. But that's exactly why this current conflict feels so important to many viewers. Because now, Josh appears to be indirectly criticizing the same leadership structure that once benefited him. Why does this hit people emotionally? Because inside a highly controlled family environment, father-son relationships can become incredibly complicated once a public scandal explodes. A son may expect unconditional protection. A father may believe he has already sacrificed enough. And eventually, both sides may begin blaming each other for all the destruction around them. That tension now feels impossible to ignore. What makes it even more striking is the timing. Josh's imprisonment completely changed the reality of the Duggar family's identity. Before the conviction, there was controversy, but there was still some possibility of preserving parts of their public image. After the conviction, that became much harder. The family was no longer dealing only with tabloids or internet criticism. Now they were facing a federal criminal conviction that permanently changed public opinion. And honestly, I think that pushed Jim Bob onto a completely different path. Instead of aggressively defending the family image, he may now be focused mostly on damage control. And that is an entirely different situation. Some online critics even argue that Jim Bob now seems more focused on protecting the rest of the family and preserving whatever privacy they still have left. Others believe he is simply exhausted after years of scandals and public outrage. And then there's another uncomfortable question people keep asking. Has Jim Bob finally emotionally separated himself from Josh? This question keeps appearing because many viewers believe the family's public support now feels very different compared to earlier scandals. Of course, nobody outside the family truly knows what their private relationship looks like today. And it's important to say that clearly. Public speculation is not proof. But people continue trying to find meaning in the silence. And silence can become extremely powerful in famous families, especially in a family that once shared nearly every detail of its life on television. Honestly, I think that's why viewers remain fascinated with the Duggar story after all these years. This is no longer just reality TV drama. It's about what happens when a carefully created image collides with real-life consequences that can't simply be edited away. The accusation that you care more about PR is incredibly powerful because it directly attacks the foundation of the Duggar brand itself. The accusation suggests that image mattered more than integrity. Whether viewers agree with that or not, it explains why these discussions spread so quickly across social media and comment sections. People instantly connected it to years of criticism surrounding how the family handled scandals. And honestly, it creates a very strange paradox. Josh is now criticizing the same image management system that benefited him for years. And viewers definitely noticed that contradiction. Many online commentators pointed out that Josh had been publicly defended multiple times throughout his life. Some people believe his frustrations only surfaced after he personally faced serious consequences. Why does this matter? Because it changes how viewers interpret his criticism. Some see hypocrisy, others see it as a final acknowledgement of the chaos surrounding him. And some believe it's both at the same time. That complexity is one reason this story continues attracting attention. There's also the issue of money and fame, which many commentators continue discussing. And honestly, this story may only be getting started. While following these moments from the Duggar family story, I kept thinking, when should I share this with all of you? I always try to bring you something meaningful and engaging. Because sharing these stories together feels different, doesn't it? And truly, your comments and support give me a lot of motivation. Now, let's see what happened next. Josh Duggar reportedly lashed out at his mother, Michelle, in a sensational text message sent from prison, accusing her of caring more about PR than about her son. Years after the 2015 scandal that shook the Duggar family, Josh reportedly targeted his mother directly in private messages. Josh, who admitted to abusing several of his sisters as a teenager, later received a 12-year federal prison sentence related to child sexual abuse material charges. According to text messages reportedly obtained by People, Josh wrote to his mother, "I am so disappointed. I feel like you don't accept criticism or acknowledge your own actions, which have directly impacted my life, including this situation." In those messages, Josh again claimed that the images and videos found on his computer were actually downloaded by another employee at the used car dealership where he worked. In another text reportedly sent after his 2022 sentencing, he added, "I don't blame you for this situation, but you blame me, and you don't even know the truth, and you admitted that yourself today." According to reports, Josh continues insisting that he is innocent, and argues that his parents' beliefs should not affect how they treat him. He allegedly wrote, "I don't think you understand. You don't understand how much you have hurt me, and you are trying to make yourself look good instead of worrying about the charges against me, or anything else happening in my life." As details about Josh's past behavior spread through the community, the Springdale Police Department quietly launched an investigation back in 2006. Just 1 year later, the family began filming what would become 17 Kids and Counting. The reality series continued for 10 seasons before the allegations became public in 2015. In another reported 2022 message to his mother, Josh wrote, "It's hard when everyone is moving on and doing different things. This is especially difficult because of everything that has happened since May 2015, when Hannah and I were devastated." He also added, "The public statements and PR efforts to save the show and protect the public image feel like they have taken priority over family relationships, and they still do today." While Michelle reportedly did not respond to most of Josh's messages, she did share supportive messages she had received with him. And as all of this unfolded, another shocking development surfaced. Josh's brother, Joseph Duggar, was also reportedly arrested in Arkansas on March 18. Authorities questioned a 14-year-old girl who claimed Joseph had touched her inappropriately several times during a family vacation when she was 9 years old.